Hey guys, in this video we're gonna be looking at the performance of the GTX 970, this one from MSI with the twin frozr 5 cooler. We're gonna be testing 5 of the most popular games to try and figure out if the 970 is still to this day a great budget card in 2018 and maybe even 2019. Let's dig into it. Hey, how is it going, guys? Glad you made it here. In today's video we're gonna talk about the GTX 970 and its performance in 2018 and how it performs in modern games. So I decided to test the performance in 5 of the current most popular games. Now I decided to run these benchmarks on my gaming rig. It's the AMD Ryzen R7 1700 without any overclocking, right now running the DDR4 memory in its native 3000 megahertz. So it's basically the only thing that I've done here. I've also downloaded the latest nvidia driver as of yesterday. The latest driver for the GTX 970 is 416.34 as of posting this video. Alright, so this is the GTX 970 Gaming 4G from MSI. This is their popular twin frozr 5 cooler. Stock clocks on this card is 1140 megahertz on the core, but it goes all the way up to 1279 in boost or OC mode, and the 3.5 gigabyte memory. Technically, it is 4 gigabytes, but you guys know what I mean, right? It's clocked to 7000 megahertz. Now keep in mind, guys, you can with a few clicks overclock your graphics card to get more frames per second, basically for free. I'm gonna cover this in future videos. With that said, let's jump into the first game, which is Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, because the game has been out for a couple of years now, there's no wonder it runs amazing on the GTX 970. The graphics card is being fully utilized in every pass in the built-in GTA 5 benchmark testing tool, with everything being almost maxed out. For more exact details, guys, on what settings I was using here, you can simply just pause the video and have a look as I'm scrolling through the settings here. Everything has been ramped up to max, except for a few things such as anti-aliasing and extended shadows. Both these settings has a severe penalize on the overall performance, so therefore I decided I really didn't want to touch those too much. Now, with an average of 62 frames per second, this game honestly makes this 5-year-old graphics card feel so young again in so many ways. And yeah, with that said, let's jump over to the next game, which is WoW, also known as World of Warcraft. Now, in bigger cities such as Soldazar, Dalaran and Orgrimmar, in preset 7 game runs pretty damn smooth, with an average of 56 frames per second and a maximum FPS spotted around 80 to the 90 and a minimum FPS spotted at 30. It might not sound like a great experience, but I definitely found this preset to be fantastic because we are averaging around the 60 FPS mark. It is a pleasant experience. Surely you can definitely push over the 100 FPS mark, but I would also vastly destroy the gaming experience. Overall, if you are looking for a graphics card that performs around what the GTX 970 performs, the GTX 1050 Ti or the GTX 1060 are 2 brilliant cards here, guys. And as you can see, you can achieve great details in WoW even with the GTX 970 in 2018. Alright, so almost complete maxed out in Fortnite. Only anti-aliasing has been left here. Now, we can probably all agree that Fortnite will never be a graphically intense game, even during the most intense moments. It never became unpleasant to play this game maxed out with the GTX 970. The game engine is simply not that complex. Thankfully, it seems to be very optimized as well. So even if you have a graphics card that is old as a heck, so to speak, you should be able to enjoy this game. Even if you have to scale back on the settings to the very most basic level, game still looks pretty okay. Now, with an average of 76 frames per second for 1080p gaming, the GTX 970 impresses me But yeah, let's move on. Now, things repeats itself in Blizzard's highly popular 2016 first-person shooter with focus on teamwork, so there's no problem running the game in max settings, as you can see. Now, lower number my benchmark tool was able to spot was around the 55 FPS level, and we maxed out around the 70 mark, and so the average frame is around 65 frames per second. It's a completely silky smooth experience with completely no lags, hiccups or stutter, which is particularly important in a fast-paced game such as Overwatch, where the tiniest microsecond matters. Best settings for Call of Duty Black Ops 4 seems to be around high, with a few tweaks here and there. For example, I decided to enable special effects, shadows, as well as something called screen spare reflection, which lets you see certain in-game objects, reflection in the water when looking at certain angles. I've also decided to enable weapon shadow as well here. All of these options can either just be enabled or disabled. Right now everything is maxed out except for things like shadow quality and texture quality, which has an ultra preset as well. Keep in mind the GTX 970 only has 3.5 gigabytes of fast GDDR5 memory. With all these settings in place, high is running, believe it or not, pretty damn alright. Now, during my testing here, guys, I was actually exceeding the 3.5 mark, peaking at 3.8 gigabyte VRAM usage, but even then I didn't manage to experience any hiccups or lags or any stutter, which I'm happy to report. And even though the game dipped under the 60 FPS mark several times, I never found the experience to be unplayable. In fact, I would actually be fine to play at this preset. Now, something to keep in mind here, we also got something called GPU Boost 2.0, which is an auto overclocking feature, and it was able to boost my GTX 970 to 1341 MHz on the core without even touching on overclocking. Now, GPU Boost 2.0 looks at things like power draw, temperature, voltage, etc., and they are all taken into account when the card boosts. However, since I wanted these results to be as accurate as possible, I decided to downclock my card to the standard OC level, and most of you guys should be able to reach higher core clocks here and score even higher numbers than what I did in this video if you have a decent graphics card cooler. And so this video kind of shows us how little things have evolved graphically in the past 5 years, unfortunately most due to console gaming. Now, you can argue that I didn't test the most visually demanding games in this video, but I had to pick titles here, guys, and I thought it would be more of help to test games you're most interested in. Now, with all of this being said, I think it's kind of stupid to invest in a $1,000 graphics card if you're not 100% fully committed on gaming in 1440p or 4K at least, because a beefier graphics card wouldn't make any sort of sense, at least not for the most current, most popular games on the market right now. Overall, I'm really surprised how well the GTX 970 have aged here. Remember, guys, this is a 5-year-old graphics card. It actually came out in 2013. Now, I want to know, guys, would you like to see more similar tests like this one in the future? And would you like me to try overclocking as well? Please let me know in the comments. Now, thank you so much for watching this video. Until next time, have an awesome day, alright? Bye.